Hello, everybody. I'm Tim from Dragaholic. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of our Ask Me Anything Live series. This is our 8th episode, and it's actually our final episode for the season. We will be going off air for about a month or 2 months. We haven't decided our coming back date, but we'll have a big guest coming back. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to today's guest. We have with us from San Francisco, the drag queen of all media, Miss Pollo Del Mar. Hi, Pollo.
Hi.
All right. So for our fans that aren't familiar with you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, what you're all about?
Sure. Pollo Del Mar, San Francisco. I have been doing drag for almost 10 years now. I host a weekly Sunday night show in the Castro district, which is the gay district of San Francisco. And I love doing, I'm also a journalist for the Huffington Post, and that's actually my first love is journalism and writing. So I'm very excited to be here with you guys.
Well, thank you for joining us. I know you're pretty busy right now, right? You have a show going on that you do every year.
Yeah, this is our 9th year running of doing the Golden Girls live. It's a stage production of the Golden Girls. I play Rose Nyland, played by Betty White on the TV series, and we are in our almost sold-out 9th season. And it's a really, really good time. Actually, you may be the first ones to be reporting this, but we're going to be going with a small, different cast in the new year to Puerto Vallarta to do the show as well. So.
Okay, awesome. Well, for anybody who's watching, you can check out some of Pollo Del Mar's shows. And she will be getting a profile soon, so this is news to her on the new Dragaholic calendar. So a little shout out for us is calendar.dragaholic.com. Check that out. All right, well, so we're going to be doing about an hour long today. It's going to be 30 to 40 minutes of a one-on-one interview. Then we're going to do a lightning round, which we have a special guest here with us again who's going to be handling that. And that is, a lot of you know, Dragaholic Deb.
Hi.
Hi, Deb.
Hi, Pollo. Hi, Tim.
She's going to be doing the lightning round, and then we will be doing a fan-submitted questions section where you, the fans who are watching at home, can join us in the conversation by tweeting to us at Dragaholic News on Twitter, of course. So, Pollo, before we start, if anybody does want to follow you, where can they check you out?
Oh, I hope they'll check me out on Facebook or Instagram. It's at Pollo Del Mar Fans, and follow me on Twitter at the Glamazon, PDM, TheGlamazonPDM.
Great. All right, so let's get things started. I want to jump into a little bit of your past, and I know quite a bit about you being from the San Francisco Bay Area. But can you tell me?
You too, Kimberly Moore Wild.
Nobody knows that who's watched this, and it's changed. So you threw me off a bit. So can you tell me a little bit about your past and how you got started in drag with your drag mom and all of that good stuff?
Sure. You know, my first time in drag as Pollo Del Mar was April 27th, 2006. It was for a fundraising event where I was asked to come out for people who don't normally do drag, and it's kind of like a switch hitters type of thing where people who don't normally perform get to perform. And I had a friend of mine do my face and borrowed some clothes from another friend and went out. And as it turned out, after that particular event, feeling as glamorous as I did, I decided to go out in the Castro. And there was a drag show at Harvey's, which is the corner of 18th and Castro. For people who are around the world, they kind of know that corner because that is like corner of gay and gayer. And I went in, and the host of the show, her name is Cookie Dough. I'd never met her before. I'd never been to that show, and she saw me in the crowd because I'm fairly tall when I'm all done up. Pointed at me, said, "Where do you perform?" I said, "I don't." She said, "Who wants to see her come, back in 2 weeks and be part of our show?" And the crowd, I was there with a lot of friends, so the crowd went wild. And I was back, and I started performing with her almost every show after that for the next year. And as it turns out, like I mentioned, I'd never met Cookie before, but now she's one of my closest friends, and we've done the Golden Girls together for almost a decade. So crazy things happen. I feel really like it's that story where you get pulled off the street, and like made a star or whatever. But from there, I was referred because of some things in my personal life. For those who don't watch or or don't know me personally, I don't drink and I don't do drugs. I'm 10 years sober, and somebody knew that about me. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It's actually not good for me. It's good for everybody else because I was kind of I was a menace to society. So somebody referred me to another queen whose name is Landa Lakes, and they said you really need to meet Landa. And she also doesn't drink, and it's for totally different reasons, totally different situations, circumstances. But I went to her, and we started speaking, and that she became my drag mother. And you know, that's been part of one of the most influential experiences I've had in drag, being part of the House of Glitter, as we're known. And it's a huge family, a huge creative circle of people here in San Francisco, and I'm really, really blessed to be part of it.
Yeah, well, San Francisco drag, I know from personal experience, is very eclectic. So how would you describe? I mean, you've got, you know, the people who go out on stage naked and a bunch of different things. S&M shows basically are some of the shows you can go to sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So how would you describe your performance and what you do on stage?
Well, you know, I have to say that it took me a while to figure that out. That's a great question because San Francisco is so eclectic. And when I first started here, I was looking for an identity. When you're a new performer, you don't know who you are. You may know who your influences are, but you don't really know who you are as an entertainer. And for me, it became a matter of trying to find my way through the system here. We have very traditional drag, and we have very punk rock drag. There's a huge influence here in San Francisco is the tranny shack community, which is the mother of that is Heclina, and another one of my Golden Girls compatriots. And for me, I didn't know who I was, and it took me a while to fall into that. I discovered that who I am is a combination of San Francisco and the more traditional Midwestern type of pageantry drag that I grew up loving and came out loving when I lived in Cleveland, Ohio. And I moved here in 1999 from Cleveland, and that's something that I enjoyed there, but I never really participated in prior to landing in San Francisco. So now, with the combination of Tranny Shack and my pageantry past and all of the influences from RuPaul's Drag Race, I think it's really made me who I am today, and I don't know who that is, other than, like, I think that I'm a smartass in a wig and a dress, so there you go.
Well, you got to be, right, to be a drag queen.
I think that you don't have to be, but I think it certainly helps. You know, thinking about who I am in drag reminds me of years ago. Like, you know, I do celebrity interviews, and RuPaul told me in my first interview with her that before she started doing drag, people didn't quite understand her personality. Something about her people didn't get or didn't connect with people. But when she put on drag, all of a sudden it kind of was like tuning the radio channel back in the day when you had one of those tuners, and you could, like, it would get fuzzy, 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 less fuzzy, and then all of a sudden when you were on the channel, you could understand perfectly. And she said for her, that's what drag was for her personality. And I feel like very similar to that I've had this huge personality, I've had this really sharp biting wit, I've had all of these various talents, and then when I got under the umbrella of drag, it all sort of makes sense in one setting.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned earlier, you know, you kind of came into a new talent showcase, and you've actually carried on that legacy in San Francisco. And are you still doing, or I know you recently had the new talent showcases at the Amazon.
We just had one a couple of weeks ago. I want to say 4 weeks ago, and we have another one coming up in February. And I love those events. What we do basically is, you know, because my show, in a lot of ways, was very unique in San Francisco, because previous to my show and a few shows that I've been associated with before, there would be these extensive lineups of performers, like maybe 10, 15 girls, all doing one performance each. But because of the fact that I wanted something a little different, a lot more, like I said, that I was accustomed to in the Midwest, and that's where you have a small cast of girls, and you come out a couple times and each do a number twice, maybe in 2 different looks, 2 different songs, kind of thing. And so when my show was established, that's what we did. We lessened the number of performers, and as a result, you know, if you're only able to book 4, 5, 6 girls max per week, there's tons of performers who really want to get on the stage, but they don't really have avenues or venues to do that always. So about once every quarter, we try to do new talent showcases, and we've discovered, or you know, our fans have discovered some really incredible people who have become truly influential here in the city, very popular with the other performers and audiences, and I love to do that because I think that it's best to give these performers an opportunity in a safe setting where people are expecting them to be new.
Definitely.
You know, a totally different level of expectation. If you throw somebody who's brand new in with the more experienced girls, it can sometimes make them really stand out in negative ways, and it negatively reinforces how they feel about themselves versus giving them the opportunity to come out and feel the love being on the stage for the first time, or feel the love of getting to do what they want to do, and a safe space to learn, grow, and try. So actually my upcoming show on the 14th of December is cast with almost exclusively girls who were competitors in my last New Talent Showcase, but they stood out so much that I invited them back, and that's what it's really about, discovering the next performer who's going to break out and make it big.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's almost like a little RuPaul's Drag Race type of thing, right?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that, but I definitely think that a lot of these girls, you know, Tim, since I met you a number of years ago, it's my position in the community here has grown and changed in ways that have blown me away, because when you met me, I was still fairly new. I'd made a big splash, but I was still fairly new. And now here, after celebrating 4 years of having my own show in the Castro, there's entire crops of performers who've come onto the scene since then who see my show, the Glamazon Sunday Nights at the Cafe, as the place that they want to perform. That's where they first experienced drag. That's where they first saw performers on the stage, and they want to be part of that community, that small family that we've created there. So in a lot of ways, I feel like the madam of the whorehouse. You know, I like Miss Mona, best little whorehouse. It's like they want to be part of that, and it's incredible to think that there's girls who come around in the last 4 years who started out wanting to be part of my show and now are part of the cast, and I love to give back in that way, and I love to kind of feel connected to other performers in that way. And if for Cookie Dough giving me that chance to jump on her stage 9 years ago, and trust me, she'd be the first one to tell you that, I wouldn't be here. And so I want to kind of do that. I want girls to like be like, oh yeah, Pollo, oh I owe Pollo. If it wasn't for her.
Well, in a way, it'll put you into a position of being everyone's drag mother, which I know you have a lot of drag babies already, and
yeah,
a lot of
I have tons of drag babies. And when I first met you, I was hosting the Crib. Remember? That's when I first met you, and the Crib was for 18 to 24-year-olds basically. And there's so many girls who were like, "Oh, you were the first drag queen I ever saw live in person," and I think a lot of, you know, I prefer, instead of being their mother, like I'll be that inappropriate, like mother's younger sister, you know, the one who like it's like, oh.
Well, I was gonna say you could be the alcoholic aunt, but minus the alcohol. You could be the crazy non-alcoholic aunt.
My daughter Sandra Oh No She Didn't says that I'm the cool mom, Regina George's cool mom from Mean Girls. You know, it's like is there alcohol in this? No, what kind of this is? Like, do you want some alcohol? I'd rather have you drink in the house than, you know. Yeah, I want to be supportive, but my relationship with my own drag children is so connected. It's something very different. If people around the world claim me as their drag mom, I'm totally cool with that, but my real kids know who they are because they get mothered to death.
Well, we kind of mentioned this a little bit and touched on it, and I know it's a big part of your past and something you like to speak about, to share your story and maybe, you know, open up the eyes of somebody who's listening. Open up the eyes of somebody who's listening. That didn't make sense, but anyway.
Right? So you could open their eyes and their ears, maybe.
Well, you know, it's live. Whatever I say is what I say. So, so tell me a little bit about you came up prior to drag in a kind of harsh scene in San Francisco. So can you tell a little bit about your background and how you got out of it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm one of the things that I've learned on a really personal level is that our past is our past, and the only reason in time that we have to be ashamed about what our past is if we continue making decisions that allow us to relive it, you know? And that's how I feel. Like my history is, I'm very open about it. You know, I have extensive history with abusing drugs and alcohol. It took me down a really dark path. I managed through a lot of circumstances that I would not have chosen for myself if I had been making smart decisions. I ended up in rehab in 2004, and I spent a fair amount of time trying to kick a nasty meth habit. And, you know, even to this day, when I see people that are so smart and so talented and so has so much to offer, like kind of following that path, it's just really difficult to watch, you know. And I respect and understand that journey because I took it myself, really. And it wasn't, you know, whatever your struggle is, whatever your demons are, it's to try to find a way past that is just, it's honorable, it's noble, and it's not easy, you know. So for me, it took going to rehab, it took going, surrounding myself with people on a very intimate level and a close personal level that don't participate in out-of-control drinking or out-of-control drugging. And of course, I make a living in the bar scene, so I'm around people who do that. I try as best I can not to be judgmental about that until people's drinking or drugging like becomes a personal problem for me. Like, hey, if you can do it, like, who am I to say anything about it? I did it for a good 10 years of my life. But one of the things probably the thing I'm most grateful for in my life is getting sober in my sobriety days, April 20th, 2004, and I would not be able to be doing what I'm doing, and I would not have had the success I've had, whether that's as a journalist, a friend, a brother, a gay man, or a drag queen, if I was continuing to do what I was doing, because drinking out of control like I was and doing meth and pretty much anything I could get my hands on wound me up homeless. You know, I was broke, homeless. My family didn't know where I was. I had no options, and it was just really bad.
All right. Well, I know it's really prevalent in the gay community, and you actually do quite a bit for people. You've opened your doors, literally, for people who find themselves, you know, in situations where they don't have family or friends. So every Thanksgiving you have an event, which just passed. So tell us a little bit about that and all that you do, because I know you do a lot for the gay community in San Francisco.
Well, I don't think I do a lot. I think that I don't think I do a lot. I think that I could do a lot more, actually. I think that one of the things I love most about San Francisco is that there is a spirit of generosity here, and there's a spirit of community, and there's people are inspired to help others, and I love that about San Francisco. I really do. And in terms of, like, you mentioned, like, every Christmas, and people are going to be watching this between now and Christmas Day, every Christmas I open my home to anybody who wants to come here, and I make a big spaghetti dinner because I don't really cook turkeys. Make a huge spaghetti dinner and open my home to anybody, because the truth is, in 2004, like I said, I was just struggling to get sober at that time, and I ended up spending Christmas Day alone, and it was the most miserable, saddest experience of my life, and bar none. You know, when everybody around you is sharing with family, and everything that you see on television and in the media and on the internet is all about happiness and joy and family and togetherness, and you're sitting by yourself with nowhere to go, it's like truly miserable. And even though by that point I was sober, I still hadn't pulled myself out of this like hole I dug for myself, and there I was alone on Christmas Day. So since 2005, meaning I guess this is our 9th year of doing this also, I just opened my home to people, and people come out and join me. Last year, 50 people. My apartment is really small, Tim, but 50 people came through here, and they, you know, it was like a big potluck, and people, old friends, new friends, people I'd never met, and some people that I will never see again came, and it was incredible. I just think that, to me, that is, like I said, I don't think I do a lot, but I think that it's those kind of things where one person does something that's very unique to them that makes a difference for other people, that kind of like sets the ball in motion where you can give back in different ways.
Well, I see it as a lot, because at the end of the day, you know, one little gesture is that you know, creates a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Someone is going to go out and do something for someone else. So even if that's all you can do every year, that's, you know, changing people's lives. And like you said, they don't have to be alone. But speaking of your apartment, I had a pretty horrible day myself, and last week with the rains on Thursday, opened my car on Thursday night and found the entire car was flooded with water. So I believe you had a similar experience.
Yeah.
How did you handle your apartment getting flooded?
Well, you know, to prepare for this interview, I moved the camera into the only corner that's not like all super nasty in my whole place. On Wednesday here in San Francisco, we had this terrible downpour, as you guys, you know, a lot of people locally know. And I came home and there was like 3 inches of standing water in my kitchen, my bathroom, parts of my living room, and so I was like, I felt so horrible because it was the middle of the night, and I was shop vacuuming kind of all the water up to get it out. My poor neighbors were up all night, I'm sure, but my landlords have been pretty good, okay, so far. Like, they sent up these big fans and this dehumidifier, but to prepare for this interview, I had to turn all that off, so like, so I can actually hear you.
It smells so good in there,
right? The whole apartment, like, you know, it smells horrible. So anybody who's had a flooding situation, and this is not my first flood. I remember when I was 6 years old, my family lived outside Houston, Texas, and there was this torrential downpour / hurricane that hit, and we were stranded on the back of a flatbed pickup truck for 3 days.
Oh, wow.
In like 4 feet of water.
Wow.
So this doesn't compare to that, but when you're an adult and you have to deal with this kind of stuff, and you have a whole home that's 2 dogs that are like affected by it, it's not fun. So
yeah.
I'm sorry about your car.
Yeah, well, thankfully I got that figured all out today. So, but
your insurance covered it, I hope.
It's a long story. I'll tell you after.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, but the question I wanted to ask as a follow-up to that is, you kind of got into your past a bit, and you know, the part that a lot of people probably don't know about Pollo, that they don't get to see and they don't get to hear too much about on stage, is what is, you know, the Pollo of the past like? What is little Pollo like, or little Piggy?
Which part? Like me as a child?
Yeah, you as a child, a little boy.
Oh God, I was foul-mouthed. That carried over into adulthood. I was too smart for my own good as a child. I think sometimes that carries over into adulthood too. But you know, one of the things, I'm very fortunate because I think, unlike some people, like my sister, for example, my sister grew up and she never knew, and I think she's still discovering. She's, you know, in her late 30s. I think she's still discovering who she wants to be when she grows up and what she wanted to do. But you know, as a kid, I remember coming home when I was in 3rd grade, so I was 8, and telling my mom, when I grow up, I want to be a journalist, for example. Like, I told her that, and I pursued that from a very early age. I was very fortunate in that my parents were super supportive of that idea. I remember when I was in like 4th grade, I think it was, maybe it was 6th grade, they got me a typewriter, and this huge, I mean, like, if you've ever seen it, there are these IBM Selectric typewriters. They're big and brown, and I literally, like, this huge. And I, you know, I started a school newspaper in 3rd grade. I started pursuing that kind of thing. I've been very driven. I'm a desperate overachiever, and you know, that's part of who I was. But I also have to say that a lot of my overachieving was to offset the fact that I was not a well-liked kid. You know, I was bullied. I was picked on. We moved very, very often, so I never got to find and settle into a group of friends until I was much later in life. And I think that really impacted me in a lot of ways. I still think to this day that there are times when I just almost don't know how to interact with people, you know, on a one-on-one level. It makes me super uncomfortable at times, and I think that drag has been a real blessing for that, because when I'm in drag, I can talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime. Drag is definitely my superhero, you know,
wow.
My alter ego personality. So
it's so amazing. You and I got a little emotional listening to that, because I have pretty much that exact same story, you know, the moving, all of that. So it's, you know, I kind of connect to you on a different level now.
Yeah, you know, when I say I moved a lot, like, people need to understand, I went to a different school every year until middle school. Then I moved after like 7th and 8th grade. I went to half of 8th grade at one school, and then I went to a different school, and then I went to a high school, and finally by high school my family had settled in. But I went to 3 different schools in 5th grade alone.
Wow.
So it was crazy. You know, I learned that there was only 2 ways to exist in life. You either became invisible so that you just blended in, or you became the class clown so that you stood out and you got whatever attention. You know, some attention was better than no attention, and that's still, like, I think that really shaped me as a person. You know, almost 42 years old, and I really think that, you know, the experiences of being a miserable kid in 5th grade haven't left me yet.
Wow. Well, what about whenever you came out? Did your family know? How'd they handle that? What was the situation like for you?
I came out, by today's standards, I was a late bloomer because I didn't come out until I was a junior in college. I was starting to come out by my junior year. I was outed in college during my senior year,
Wow.
which was, I don't know if it was a blessing or a curse. It did, by then it was like the end, and I didn't care. It didn't really matter. The unfortunate downside of that was that I had a girlfriend at the time, and it really hurt. It hurt her, and I that is something I feel bad about, the kind of duplicitous things that unfortunately we have to do or we feel we have to do to protect ourselves. I assume I could have been out all through college and it would have been a very different experience, but I don't think I'd have died. I don't think it would have been, I would have been outcast or shunned, but I definitely wouldn't have had the experience that I did. So by the time I came out, I actually was coming out at the same time as Ellen DeGeneres. And
Rosie O'Donnell too, right?
I don't know when Rosie came out. I think Rosie came out later, but I specifically remember the thing was I wanted to come out to my family, but because I was my family's in Florida and I was going to college in Ohio, and the only time I would be going home during that period was for the holidays. So, the last thing you want to do is be like, hey Mom, happy Thanksgiving. By the way, I'm gay. I know every year we're going to celebrate how miserable I made you today. I didn't want to be that person. So I specifically, when I found out that Ellen DeGeneres was coming out, I went home. I made this special trip to Florida just to come out simultaneous to Ellen DeGeneres. And my coming out story could not have been more beautiful because the people who've experienced my mom, whether in person or on Facebook, a lot of people love my mom on Facebook because my mom is super supportive. When I told my mom that I was gay, her response verbatim was, you're my son, and no matter what happens or what you do, I will always love you no matter what. Period. And I started crying.
Yeah.
I remember I was so overcome, I was sobbing. And my poor mother was holding me, and I was sobbing, and then finally she was like, did I say something wrong? And of course it wasn't that she'd said anything wrong, it was just the 20-some years of pent-up fear of losing the people who are most important in your life, gets released in that moment. And I got a little choked up there, but my mother is a very special woman, a very, very special woman, and it's allowed her to meet a lot to a variety of people in the gay community. There's another performer here in the Bay Area. Her name is Jamila, and I'm sure that you know Jamila. Jamila's based in Modesto, California, and Jamila's an amazing performer, but one of the things that makes Jamila also stand out is that she has a mother. Her name is Mama Della. Comes to all the shows, and when you see that and you take into consideration that not everybody has that experience, I introduced my mother and Mama Della to each other via Facebook because I just felt they needed to know each other, and they had this interaction with one another on Facebook that was so touching, where they both expressed that they feel like their responsibility as the mother of a gay man and a drag performer is to show the love and support that not everybody has the good fortune of experiencing firsthand, and to give those people hope that there'll be something different for them in the future. Whew.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's really great to hear. I always like to say, even if you're not religious, that doesn't mean you can't be blessed, and you do seem to be very blessed with your family.
I'm very blessed in everything, though, Tim. So it's I'm very blessed in my career, I'm very blessed in my family, I'm very blessed in just so many aspects of my life, and that's something that I try to remind myself every day. I have to be grateful.
Well, you've worked hard. You've worked hard. I know you have, because you mentioned earlier, I saw you kind of early on, and you were doing big things then. And as a young baby queen myself at that time, I asked you, how do you make this a career? You told me you don't. At first, you got to work your way. You got to hard work, put a lot of money in, build yourself up, and you've done that. I mean,
I think the perception that a lot of people have is I'm going to show up in a wig one day, and then tomorrow I'm going to be a superstar, and that's just not how it happens,
Well, you've done it all too without RuPaul's Drag Race. A lot of these young queens that, you've even got 13-year-old, 12-year-old queens that are popping up now trying to do things where to be famous, it's like they want to do it just for the fame. Their goal is to get on RuPaul's Drag Race. They want that 15 minutes of fame, and then, but we kind of had a pre-conversation prior to this, and you made some good points about, you know, the personalities that people see on TV kind of sticking with them for a while. So are you happy that you have not been on the show, or do you at some point maybe want to be on it, to go into that category?
Well, first of all, I think that any queen who doesn't want to end up on Drag Race or wouldn't appreciate the opportunity to be on Drag Race is insane.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I'm going to boil it down to you, like, to one reason. Like, I get paid pretty good money to do what I do. If I was on one episode of Drag Race, then my booking fee could, like, quadruple. So, you know, if I get to choose between looking like an asshole on RuPaul's Drag Race for 2 episodes and then charging people $1,000 to, like, get up there in my panties and twerk around, give me hate mail every day, because I'll be cashing the freaking checks and laughing. You know, but, you know, so a number of years ago, you know, every year they do these online casting things or whatever, where they're like, vote, you know, to get your favorite performer. And when it was like time to cast season 2 and maybe like season 4, I want to say, I did really, really well in those. Like, I'm talk about being blessed. I'm blessed to have, like, for having never been on TV, for having never done anything like truly consequential in the world of drag. Like, I've got some people who are just so fucking supportive. Oops, I probably shouldn't say that. Like, they're so supportive. Like, beyond anything I could have imagined, and like that come to me, like, you know, come out to support me no matter what I'm doing, whether it's something online or at the clubs or, you know, reading my stuff. And I did really well in one of those online, you know, casting votes. But as a result, actually, Jessica Wilde, a very good friend of mine, Jessica Wilde was cast that year in season 2, and from that, and we met through that process, and then other girls subsequently to that. But I just look back on the person I was, you know, 5 years ago and think to myself, thank God I didn't go on TV looking like that. Thank God I didn't go on TV with that mindset, you know, that I had then, because the last thing that I would want to do is have spent the last 5 years of my life living down the person I was in whatever, in, like, you know, 2009. And never having anybody give a shit what I'm doing now. Like, you know, that's the frustrating part. Like, they never see you now. They just see that. So I'm, you know, in terms of that, I'm grateful that I never got cast. Would I want to be cast? Of course, because I want to make money. I would love to have the opportunity to do a lot of things. When you get that experience, a lot of doors open for you, and they open for you without you really even having to turn the key, kind of thing. I get to do all of those things now because I'm busting my ass to do it. You know, like, I put out music because I love music, and I busted my ass to do it. Like, girls from Drag Race have people who are, like, knocking on their door, like, hey, can I be the one who produces your song? You know, I get to do a lot of amazing things, and I think that those things would only be amped up if I were on Drag Race. But unlike my mindset was in 2009 when I was, you know, trying to get on season 2, like, now I realize that hard work, perseverance, and actual drive and motivation can take you as far, in many cases, as having been on Drag Race. Because at season 7, there's now been almost 100 girls who've been on that show.
Really?
I would challenge anybody who's watching this, or anybody who goes to your website, dragaholic.com, just in case you're trying to figure it out, like, to name half those girls. Because only a handful of them made a difference. Only a handful of them were memorable. And
I could probably name everyone from every season.
Yeah, to learn Alaska's song.
Well, you know, I would rather be the girl who never goes on there. And this is the other thing. When you've been working a long time in the industry, and I've been, you know, 10 years isn't a huge amount of time, but it's a fairly significant time, I would rather people get to know me because of what I put out there for people to know, not based on something that's completely out of my control. You know, I've done a really good job of branding myself over the last number of years, and it would be horrible for me, in my mind, to go and spend 2 episodes on TV and have something that I would not really want the public to see come out. So,
well, I noticed. I remember. I want to say 2, 3 years ago is whenever your makeup really changed. I think it was 2 years ago, and I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was a lot attributed to Lanesha Sparks from RuPaul's Drag Race season 5.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, Lanesha is a dear friend of mine. I was texting her either this morning at some ungodly early hour or yesterday. Well, it was yesterday morning at some ridiculous early hour. Lanesha and I have become really good friends, and I love her. She is crazy.
Her English has gotten so much better. I can.
Oh, so when I met Lanesha, she literally sat silently in the car, could not barely speak at all, and now she's like she's really come a long way in terms of her English. But you know, I love her, and the reason I love her is because of the fact that so many people would have met somebody, you know, in my position because I hired her. I brought her to California to do her first series of U.S. performance dates because she was just out of Puerto Rico. It was her first set of U.S. performances, and I brought her here, and we were working together. And you know, she might have met me and just been like, "Well, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut." But she said to me one night, like when we were in Sacramento, California, she said, "Would you mind if I painted your face? I would love to see what you would look like if I painted you like a Puerto Rican queen." and this is something that I feel blessed about too, is that like I had the personal humility to say not to be like, "What? I'm the one who paid to bring you here. I'm successful." You know, like I didn't get offended. I didn't take it personally. I was like, "You're beautiful, like beyond beautiful. Like Lanesha is beyond beautiful. She's like, oh my God, she's so pretty." And if I can learn something from what she had to teach me, I was all for it. And she completely changed the way I look overnight.
That's who Alaska recommended to me. He's recommended her makeup tutorials.
Yeah, Lanesha.
Clearly, I haven't been watching them, but but he uses her tutorials as well.
Yeah, Lanesha's makeup is insane, stunning. It doesn't hurt, of course. Let's just be honest. It does not hurt that when she is not in drag, she already looks like a male model.
Agreed.
It does not hurt that Lanesha is ridiculously beautiful as a boy. That kind of goes without saying. But the fact that she's able to transform from beautiful boy to like even more beautiful girl, like really speaks volumes. So.
All right. Well, now that we've fangirled a little bit over Lanesha Sparks, I'm going to pass things along to Deborah really quickly, and she's going to move you into our lightning round. And in the meantime, I want to say to anybody who's watching, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask Pollo Del Mar, a follow-up to any of the questions I've asked or the answers she's given, feel free to tweet them to us now. You can see the Twitter handle right there. It's Dragaholic News. And I'm going to be working on those while Deborah takes on the lightning round. So,
I hope they ask you,
Deborah. What was that?
Oh, I said I hope they ask some really challenging stuff.
Well, I'll do my best. Now you get me a little worried, but
no, not you, Deb. I know you're going to do great. I'm saying I hope the people on Twitter ask some good stuff.
Oh, they do. Okay, so this is a lightning round. It'll go fast, and if you can't think of an answer, I'll just continue on. So we're going to start with and I'm excited because I actually can see you, because the last time we did this with Fifi, I couldn't see her the entire time. I had no idea what the expression was on her face. I'm going to start with your favorites. So I'd like to know your favorite musician or song.
Favorite song at the moment is Talking Body by Tove Lo. My favorite musician of all time, Mariah Carey.
Okay, favorite word.
Beschrift. Don't know it, do you? I made it.
City.
What was that?
City.
City?
Favorite city.
Favorite city is San Francisco, California. That's why I live here.
Okay. What's your favorite Thai food?
It is yellow curry chicken with potatoes.
Yum. Okay. What is your favorite website?
My favorite website
That's a loaded question.
Well, aside from dragaholic.com, my favorite website is wrestlezone.com. I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. I go to it every single day.
Oh, really? Okay. Who's your favorite wrestler?
My favorite wrestler ever is The Rock because I want to have his babies. Yeah, period.
Okay.
Dwayne
What's
Johnson.
what's your favorite liquid? Speaking of which, I'm gonna take a sip.
My favorite liquid, Diet Mountain Dew.
Ooh. Okay.
Sugar-free Red Bull.
Diet Red Bull.
Yeah, sugar-free
What's
Red
your
Bull.
favorite interview that you've interviewed somebody else on?
God, that's a hard one because I've interviewed literally hundreds of celebrities. I always love. I'll say that always love it when somebody that I interview becomes a friend of mine, and the one that stands out most, who became a personal friend, is Angina. When Angina,
Oh, cute.
when Angina first revealed her HIV status, I contacted her through MySpace. It was that long ago. And I interviewed her for a national HIV magazine cover story, and we
Aw.
became friends. So that stands out to me.
I've never spoken with her or met her
Wonderful
or
person.
anything.
And
Okay,
watch her relationship with her husband Ryan is incredible.
Oh, she's adorable.
Absolutely.
What's your favorite Dorito flavor?
Cool Ranch.
And your favorite phrase?
Working
That's
my
okay.
puss. You're working my puss.
Okay, moving on to this or that. So I'm going to name you two things. The first thing is internet or newspaper.
Internet.
Sharon Needles or Caswell.
I would totally fuck Caswell before I'd fuck Sharon Needles.
Drag Race or The Amazing Race.
Never watched Amazing Race, but I've always watched Drag Race.
Pageant or runway.
Pageant.
Cigarette or cigar.
Vape.
Twitter or Instagram.
Whew. My Instagram goes to Twitter, so I'll go with Instagram.
Okay. Writing or drag.
Oh shit. I love drag, but writing has always been my heart.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Lip sync or comedy.
Comedy. Live comedy, what I'm saying on a microphone, not something I'm lip syncing. Comedy.
Okay. Cher or Chad Michaels.
I'm gonna say Cher. You can't beat the original.
All right. Dogs or cats.
Dogs owns two of them, but I like cats too.
I'm a dog person. Go out or stay in.
Who's in my bed will help me decide.
Very good. Okay. And then Lanesha Sparks or Andy Trinidad.
Of
Do you know who Andy Trinidad is?
course I do. Andy. Well, I only know him as Lanesha, so even though I had to buy him a ticket as Andy.
I had to friend him. I sent him a friend request, and he said, "Oh, friend me on my boy account." And I go, "What's the name?" He said, "Andy Trinidad." And I went, "Okay." And I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because it's funny because earlier I almost referred to him as Andy, but like I don't even call him Andy in his real life. So
Yeah. Okay. Now we're on to one word. First word is glasscock.
Rebecca,
Betty.
White,
Fuck.
me,
Alcohol.
no thanks.
Okay.
That was 2 words, cheater.
I know.
School.
Boy.
Water.
Hot.
Pedestrian.
Run over.
RuPaul.
Drag Race. No, Charles.
This is 2 words, but tic tac.
Half.
Okay.
Oh, there's just half.
Castro.
Home.
Queen.
Did you say Queen?
Queen. Hey, Queen. Yes.
Drag.
Okay. Healthy.
Probably not. No. No thanks.
And the last one's a number, 420.
Never. That's my sobriety date.
Yes. It's your sobriety date. So.
That's so ironic.
I know. Trust me. Every year when I celebrate my sobriety date, I walk out the door and wonder, why the hell does this whole neighborhood smell like pot?
Especially in California.
Like spot.
I was wondering if it was a choice on the date or just a coincidence.
You want to know the truth? That's the day my crack pipe fell in a toilet and I didn't dig it out.
Oh,
That's smart. I'm happy to hear that.
that's a move forward in life for sure.
I know, right?
So,
No,
well,
maybe tomorrow I'll dig my crack pipe out of the toilet, but not today.
because it's 4:20. Well, thank you.
I totally was unaware of the date, by the way, when it happened. It was just,
All right. Well, we've had quite a few good questions on Twitter. And to anybody who's watching, I hope you're ready, by the way. To anybody who's watching, tweet us at Dragaholic News. Any questions?
Sorry, I'm like messing up your feed here. I want to just adjust my thing so I can lean back a little bit. Okay, cool. Go.
No problem. All right. So we've got, I'm going to start with one from Natalia Oliveri. And she wants to know, we kind of already went over this, but how and when did your drag career start?
April 27th, 2006.
And I was at a new talent showcase.
It was at a fundraising event.
Okay.
For an organization that I really strongly support in the Castro.
All right. And she also wants to know, would you ever audition for RuPaul's Drag Race Season 8?
You know, I didn't audition for Season 6 or 7 because the audition process is so stringent now. They, like, literally, it's like pages and pages of contract and, like, hours of footage that they expect you to condense down into 12 minutes. And I'm really trying to figure out how the hell these girls find time to do it. Would I consider it for 2015 or for Season 8? Yes, I would absolutely consider it. I think I'm coming up on my last opportunities to even audition. I don't want to be a vivacious who's on there when I'm 50. So, yeah, maybe one more go around. We'll see.
Well, I think Tempest Du Jour, who's in the new season from Tucson, Arizona, I want to say she's like 45.
Oh, well.
So, yeah, they brought another,
I have years though in that case.
Somebody's 38 and she looks amazing. She tweeted a picture of herself and said, "I'm 38," but that wasn't Tempest.
We'll see. I'll go get some Botox and like get some strings and inserted behind my ears. I can just pull my face tighter and tighter as the years go by.
Well, just Miss Fame.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, do one of her
those little tape things on the side and just yanks her face back.
Yeah, that's fine. She's also really young. That gets bad for you after time. Like when you like start pulling your. Could you imagine if I was like. And then you take off the tape, and next thing you know, like you look like a Shar-Pei because your eyebrows have fallen down over your nostrils. It's not cute. It's not cute.
Stretching your skin too much.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to get myself stretch marks on my forehead. The ones at the side of my mouth are enough.
All right. Natalia also wanted to know, we get this question quite a bit, so I kind of warned you about it. But what makeup tips did you get from Lanesha Sparks? So that's part one. It's a two-part. Wait. So, no. We know that you got makeup tips from Lanesha Sparks, but are there any makeup tips you can give to people watching?
Well, the best piece of advice that Lanesha gave me was how to use contouring and shading to reshape my face. Because I have a very, you can see it here, I have a pretty, and I talk about it in a lot of my own tutorials on YouTube, I have a really square jaw, and that is identified as extremely masculine. So through using different colors of contouring foundation, you can shave it off. I contour my face like down like this so that my jaw, like my face looks much more like a V, and it makes it much more feminine. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that I tell people. You can literally, through the use of contours and colors that you choose for your face, completely alter the way your face looks visually in photographs. Like that's like my daughter Sandra actually recently clocked Mariah Carey for having a visible contour on her cheekbone during her big performance in Times Square or whatever recently. But that's something that I do all the time. Like my makeup is done so you're looking at me just like this in photographs. I don't stand in photos like where you can see all my jaw. No. But I think that that's something that I would tell people. If you learn how to use colors and contours, you can really reshape completely the way your face is. I love my nose, but I want Pollo Del Mar to have a different nose than Paul Pratt. You know,
Yeah.
so I reshape my nose.
Okay, good. Well, that's a great tip, one we haven't heard yet, actually. All right, so we have two questions that came in from, I don't know if this is the way you say it on Twitter, but it's JENDOOF, Jen Doof.
Jen Doof.
And she wants to know, are you releasing any new music?
Well, there isn't anything planned at this moment, but my goal for 2015 is to have 2 new songs out, and I've already got one of them written, and I know who I want to work with, at least producer-wise, and I want to put out new music. I love, now, for people out there who've listened to my other songs, like hashtag White Lady Problems with Matt Consola and LFB, or, you know, Made You Look with Kwanzaa Jones, or even my own track, How Embarrassing, they already are aware I can't sing. And I'm a drag performer, and if you've listened to any of the other drag performers out there, you know that none of us can really sing, with the exception of a handful. So being able to sing is not really a requirement. So, but I love music. I love music. And the fact that drag has given me a platform and opportunity to make music blows my mind. And I want to do more of it.
Well, I kind of want to interrupt this question and just say, one thing I've learned from, you know, doing Dragaholic is the evolution of, and correct me if I'm wrong, of the lip sync. And Lip Synca, who's doing a farewell or a trilogy tour, I want to say, in New York, she's Canadian, I believe. She kind of originated the lip syncing drag queen thing. Is this correct, or do you know anything about that?
I think that many years ago, I think that a lot of the drag performers performed live. You know, they sang live. But lip synca, what lip synca originated, I think, is taking lip sync to an entirely different level. You know, lip synca is an icon and a legend in the drag community, and for the younger kids out there who don't know who lip synca is, please look her up, because what she changed about the industry is, like, I go on stage and I lip sync a song. Other performers go on stage and lip sync, like, you know, their mega mix, you know, while they're singing and dancing. Lip synca goes on stage and, like, lip syncs an entire friggin' movie.
Okay.
She lip syncs every nuance, expression, whatever, of like 30 minutes or 40 minutes of material. It's incredible. So, like, as an actor, like I you know, we talked earlier about the Golden Girls. As an actor, it's hard enough to memorize a script that's that long, like, to deliver it. Much less, like, lip sync something that's already pre-recorded, where you're like, pause when they pause and sigh when they sigh and give the side out when they give this. You know, like, she's out there. She took it to an all new level. Like, my hat is off to her. So.
Well, one, just to give a little shout out for Bay Area Queens, is Kenneth Rex, who's at Divas Las Vegas, is really good at that as well.
I love Kenneth. Kenneth is somebody who I have in my show anytime he's in San Francisco. He knows that he has a home with us, and I love Kenneth. I love his performances. He is incredible. Incredible.
Okay, so the second part of that first question, what was that?
Oh, Kenneth had asked to borrow some eels from my Ursula outfit, and I totally spaced on responding to him, and he went back to Vegas, and I feel like a jerk for never responding, so I was just apologizing to him.
All right. Well, if anybody's going to Vegas, maybe they can drive them out there for you.
I'll send you an eel, Kenneth.
All right. So the second part of Jen Doof's question is, she wants to know, since you are planning music, who would your dream collab be?
Oh, God. You know, so this is not going to make any sense to anybody who doesn't love music the way I love dance music. And, like, I love dance music, and since I'm a drag queen, that's what I want to release, dance pop music. There's so many amazing vocalists that I would love to collaborate with. You know, with a quick answer would be, I would love to collaborate with Caswell, because we obviously, like, he has a huge following, and he would be, you know, like, our talents would match up perfectly. If I got to choose somebody whose music that I just generally, like, love, there's a vocalist whose name is Amuka. She does this song "Appreciate Me." It's from back when in my club days. Look her up. Another performer named Seabox. I love big, like, wailing screaming, what I call screaming diva dance music, like, you know, and I would love to do what I do with somebody like that layered underneath, you know, and
Yeah.
so there's tons of people like that, and like I said, they don't mean anything to anybody who's not in the dance music industry, except, you know, but they mean something to me because that's the kind of stuff I listen to. There's so many talented people out there though that like I'm just like, you know, people who haven't even made a name for themselves yet, and that I am a hip to and would love to work with. I would love, you know, in terms of producers who people know, like I would love to work with the Perry twins, who are friends of mine. I would love to have them produce something for me. DJ Russ Rich, DJ Paul Goodyear. There's tons of these DJs, and that's the kind of stuff I love. And you know, fingers crossed that somebody hears this and is like, oh, we need a vocalist who can't really sing, has no real talent, that looks decent in a dress. Come on down, you know.
Well, I don't know. I think you get a good entree there for Caswell based on your answer earlier.
Well, you know, like, right, exactly. Caswell is like, I love Caswell's music. Like, and what would I have given to be on the Helen Keller track? Like, that song is so friggin' funny. And again, like, that's a perfect example of what I was talking about. Like, so when I was interviewing Caswell a long time ago, and he was talking about how Helen Keller was coming up, and he's like, yeah, I'm working with Manila Luzon on Helen Keller. And it's like, you know, it's us and Roxy. And I was like, Roxy from the Ride Committee? Like, you know, the drag queen who's in addition to Manila Luzon on that is somebody that I listened to when I was in college. Because she had this song called Accident. Look it up, kids. Roxy, like the Ride Committee featuring Roxy, Accident, hilarious. And so I went ape shit just finding out that he was collaborating with her because she is another drag legend. People whose work is overlooked, you know, in this day and age where she's like 100 years old. She's not going to be on Drag Race, folks. So you're going to have to do some research.
There's a lot of legends who have big followings.
Oh, absolutely. And rightfully so.
Okay, so we have a lot of questions and limited time, so I'm going to try and power through these. Let's see. The next one we have is from JoJo, and that's XItalianaX on Twitter. She wants to know, where did you get your sickening sense of humor?
Hi, JoJo. Thanks for following me. I got my sense of humor because I come from a really dysfunctional family, and I had some really bizarre upbringing things. And as much as I love my family, there were times when you either learn to laugh or you learn to cry, and I chose to laugh.
Yeah. All right. Well, as I said earlier, you know, we have similar experiences. So my friends always, my friends always say, "Wow, you say that in front of your parents?" And I'm like, "Where do you think I learned it from?"
Oh yeah, my mom says that she's very fortunate because she has the two funniest people, you know, she knows is children. So my sister and I both share that sense of humor.
All right. So we've got a couple questions left. Let's see. Leo, who's Leo Rocco Scorpio on Twitter, wants to know, how many hats do you have?
Hi, Leo. I have a lot of hats. I have an entire box of them, and I got rid of 2 boxes not that long ago when I cleaned out all my drawers to make room for my niece who came and stayed with me for the summer. So I have a lot of hats, and I cycle through them. I love baseball caps. I love everything Adidas. Really, I have tons of shoes. I love baseball caps. When I'm not in drag, like I think I'm a boy. Like you know, I look like a dude, with the exception of these overly snatched eyebrows.
And may I add to that, a rather attractive dude?
Aw, thanks, Jan.
All right.
I live in my Adidas sweats here, my Adidas soccer pants.
I'm in them too. You should see these pants make my ass look amazing. There's a stripe right across it.
Well, let's see.
Well,
All right. Well, thank you very much, Pollo. We're just about out of time, so I want to thank everybody who's watched. And just to remind everyone, where can they see you? Where can they follow you? Tell us a little bit.
Well, I hope all of you guys will follow me on Facebook. My fan page is facebook.com/Pollo Del Mar fans. That's also my IG address, Pollo Del Mar fans. And on Twitter, it's the Glamazon PDM. I hope that they'll connect with me because of the fact that I love interacting with my fans. The one thing that I can say is like when people comment on my Facebook page, I almost always respond. People get bent out of shape because my friend page is all filled up and they can't friend me, but I almost never use it because I'm so involved with my fan page and interacting with the people there. I love Instagram and Twitter, and if you go on my Twitter, if you tweet me, I tweet you back. It's almost assured. So connect with me and let's be friends and fans and followers of each other.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, Deborah, as well, for joining us for this one. Anybody who wants to follow myself or Deborah on our personal accounts, you can follow Dragaholic Tim. And Deborah, what are you?
I'm Dragaholic Deb.
Everybody knows that.
On Instagram and Twitter. And you have
All
to
right.
find me on Facebook if you want to find me on Facebook.
Well, for anybody who missed the event, you can watch the entire recorded thing right where you are in about 2 minutes as soon as we're done with this. And to kind of close things out and say thank you to everybody who's watched the last 8 seasons now, 8 episodes, excuse me, of the series Ask Me Anything Live. We're going to be taking a short break for about a month or two and then coming back live with some new stuff planned for you. So season 2. So thank you very much again, Pollo.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
Squeezing me in is your last episode of your first season of this. It's a lot of fun, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's
and Pollo,
amazing.
thank you for doing our drag horoscopes. Was it last month?
November. I had a blast with that, Deb. So if you have a lack of opportunities for other queens to respond, like let me know.
You'd be my go-to girl.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, the last thing I want to say is thank you. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Take care.